Man, Visible and Invisible by C.W. Leadbeater. Chapter 11. How Man Evolves. The soul puts himself down first into the matter of the lowest levels of the mental plane. Immediately, and in a sense automatically, a vesture of this matter is drawn around him, a vesture which is an exact expression of such qualities as already exist in him, so far at least as they can be expressed on that level. For it must never be forgotten that each stage in the descent means submission to limitation, and that consequently no expression of the soul upon any lower level can ever be a perfect expression. It's merely an indication of its qualities, just as a picture painted by an artist is a representation in 2 dimensions of a scene existing or imagined as existing in 3 dimensions. The picture represents the scene as nearly as it can be represented on a flat surface by means of perspective, but in reality, almost every line and angle in it must of necessity be unlike the line or angle which it is intended to image. In exactly the same way, the true quality, as it exists in the soul, cannot be expressed in matter of any lower level. The vibrations of the lower matter are altogether too dull and sluggish to represent it. The string is not sufficiently stretched to enable it to respond to the note which resounds from above. It can, however, be tuned to correspond with it in a lower octave, like a man's voice singing in unison with a boy's, expressing the same sound as nearly as the capabilities of the organism permit. Thus, the color which represents a certain quality in the causal body will express it also in the mind body and even in the astral body, but the color will be less delicate, less luminous and ethereal as we descend. The difference between these octaves of color is very far greater than can be in any way represented upon paper or canvas. We can endeavor to image it only by stages of qualities, for even the next octave above the physical is entirely beyond the conception of our mind, as long as it works under the limitation of the physical brain. The lowest astral colors may be thought of as dark and coarse, and they certainly are as compared to the higher and purer hues. But at least they are luminous in their coarseness. They're not so much dark color in the ordinary sense of the word as dimly glowing fire. At each stage, as we ascend, we shall find that while the higher matter exhibits a splendid power of expression of the nobler qualities, it gradually loses the power to express some which are lower. The peculiarly unpleasant hue which represents coarse sensuality in the astral body is quite incapable of reproducing itself in the mental body. It may be objected that this surely should not be so, as a man may undoubtedly have a sensual thought, but this idea does not seem accurately to represent the facts. A man may form a mental image which evokes sensual feeling in him, but the thought and the image will express themselves in astral matter, not in mental. It will leave a very definite impression of its peculiar hue upon the astral body, but in the mental body it will intensify the colors which represent the concomitant mental evils of selfishness, deceit, and deception. These, in their turn, will find no expression whatever in the resplendent glory of the causal body, but every intensification of them in the lower vehicle, every indulgence in them down here, tends somewhat to dim the luminosity of the colors representing the development of the opposite virtues in the higher existence, which is so much nearer to reality. The process by which the colors are produced works always from below upward. The man feels some impact from without, and in response to it a wave of emotion of some sort is awakened within him. That means that for the moment, while the emotion endures, the particular type of vibration which represents it is predominant in the astral body and will presently be shown in our illustrations. After a time, the emotion dies down, and the color corresponding to it fades away, but not entirely. A certain proportion of the matter of the astral body is normally oscillating at the very special rate appropriate to that emotion, and every great outburst of it adds somewhat to this proportion. For example, men have within them a certain amount of irritability, which expresses itself in the astral body as a scarlet cloud. When the man manifests that irritability by some special outburst of temper, the whole astral vehicle is temporarily suffused with scarlet. The fit of passion subsides, and the scarlet flush dies away. But it has left its traces behind, for there is a slight permanent addition to the size of the scarlet cloud of irascibility, and the whole matter of the astral body is a little more ready than before to respond to the vibration of anger when any opportunity offers. Naturally, exactly the same course is followed in the case of any other emotion, whether it be good or bad, and thus we see the clear manifestation in matter of the moral law that every time we yield to a passion of any kind, we make it a little more difficult for ourselves to resist its next attack, while every successful effort at its repression makes the next victory a little easier. The comparatively permanent color in the astral body means a persistent vibration which, in course of time, produces its due effect upon the mental body, creating a vibration of similar character at that much higher level, provided that the vibration is of such a character that can be reproduced in that finer matter. It is by the same method of exciting sympathetic vibration that the higher qualities developed by the life on the lower planes are gradually built into the causal body itself, though at that level, fortunately for us, only the effect of the loftier emotions can be recorded. So, in the course of his many lives, man develops within himself many qualities, some good, some evil, but while all good development is steadily stirred up and accumulated within the causal body, that which is evil can express itself only through the lower vehicles, and so is comparatively impermanent. Under the mighty law of divine justice, every man receives absolutely the exact results of his own action, whether it be bad or good, but the evil necessarily works out its effect upon the lower planes, because it is only in the matter of those planes that its vibrations can be expressed, and it has no overtones capable of awakening a response in the causal body. Its force, therefore, is all expended at its own level, and it reacts in its entirety upon the Creator in the astral and physical life, whether it be in this or in future incarnations. The good action or thought produces its result upon these lower planes too, but in addition to that, it has an immensely higher and permanent effect upon the causal body, which is so prominent a factor in the evolution of man. Thus, while all alike produce their results down here and manifest them in various temporary vehicles, it is the good qualities only which are retained as so much definite gain to the real man. The evil meets him again and again on his successive descents into incarnation until he has vanquished it and finally rooted out from its vehicles all tendency to respond to it, until in fact he is no longer liable to be swept away by any passion or desire, but has learned to rule himself from within.